Spirits, come to me.
Hey, what's up, boss? Ain't talked to you in a while, man. How you been? How's the family and them? They good?
Spirits, give me your guidance.
Spock doesn't go on the Enterprise. If you put him there, you're an idiot and a bad player.
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the most important video you will watch on YouTube today. Why, you might ask? Because we're tackling the important dilemma that you face every day. Who do I put on these explorers? Now, for those who fly battleships or interceptors, don't worry, an updated video is coming out for you, but because I made a video way back in the day talking about Tauruses and jellyfish and Bacillus and how to crew them, I figured, hey, most people have leveled up now. Now, if you are a newer player to the game, don't worry. We'll cover some of the basics of explorers and why we crew them certain ways in this video, but I will tell you that the ships we're focusing on are some of the beauties that we have here today. The Mayflower, the Burrell, Centurion, and of course the Enterprise. I'm not touching any of the 4-star stuff because, you know what, like 1% of my viewers are 4-star. So if you have a 4-star question, drop in the comments below, I'll answer it there. So let's start with crewing, and let's start with the basic one. So you guys and gals know about morale. We're not even getting on the Enterprise. We're going to go straight into officers. Let's look at morale. So if you are an explorer-based player, and if you remember the video I just put out yesterday, if you've got morale at least about tier 3 with Spock, that means Spock is giving you at least a 100% regen of your shields, then he's going to be a basic go-to for PvP. Now, that is Captain Kirk, Spock, and if you're on an Explorer, it can help a little bit, Uhura, but Bones is typically going to be the one that you focus on upgrading. This guy right here. The reason being is a maxed out Bones mixed with Kirk and Spock will equate to over a 1000% shield regen, because a maxed out Spock will buff regular Spock that much. The morale is the base crew of this game. It really is the standard go-to for PvP. You can put a max morale crew on a Saladin, which is an interceptor, and have a very, very good time. Like, very good time. So anyway, that's the basic crew. This guy, and this guy. But Uhura, because she has an accuracy bonus, can be useful if you're an explorer. Now let's get into actual ships. We're going to start with the Mayflower, and I threw this on there because a lot of newer servers will recognize this, including my server 43. So the Mayflower is currently kitted out with Borg crew, and a lot of you are going, why Borg crew? Because a lot of newer servers and newer players have actually had access to these before they've been able to level up some of the other stuff, which is kind of made for a difference in how PvP is happening on some servers versus others, because they don't have max morale, but they do have the Borg, who even at low levels were very, very useful. Let's talk about why. So let's go to our officer menu and look at weapons are relevant. 5 of 10 increases the shield deflection, armor, and dodge by 800%. So full synergy here. She's basically working like Zal does. Yes, I'm going to continue with it. Correct me in the comments if you wish. Your anger fuels my videos! Like I need to hear like a Super Saiyan. I'm not going to do that, but like a Super Saiyan thingy going on there. But anyway, back to the content. So if you look at 5 of 10, the mitigation bonus that she's going to give you is extremely useful. Then let's go over to the secondaries. 7 of 10 doing a boost to health, and then I've got 8 of 10 doing a boost to attack. So why that is so important, though, is the two things I told you to focus on. Remember the video I did about below decks, and what you should focus on with these guys and gals right here. Focus on attack first, then health. Defense only if you have a defense-specific officer. Spock is a defense-specific officer that uses defensive stats to get better and stronger. Zal would be another one. There's a lot of them. However, if you're talking about a pure bonus, we want to get that attack and health to 300% because that is going to keep us alive and increase our DPR, damage per round. That means I'm focusing on right here and right here. So this is a basic set for PvP because you get a nice mitigation bonus. Also, to remind everybody, this has nothing to do with anything, but this works, like that works on armadas, for rep, for anything that you want to farm. That works. So remember that right there. Let's move on to our next ship. We're actually going to go to our Centurion, which I've got it loaded out kind of conky wonky, but that's okay. I want to show you some varied crews and explain how they work and why we're using them. So if you look here, this is a shield buff, though we could put Char here for armor piercing to flip the triangle. So in that instance, what we would do is take him off. This would basically be a good fighting other explorers. So if you're in a Centurion against another Centurion, for example, Yuki with Marcus is going to shield strip at 15% a round because of the synergy there. And then Marcus is going to come in and give, for me, a 400% boost to shield piercing, which is going to help you fight off other explorers. And then, of course, we've got our bonus to defense. Why is that important? Well, because Marcus is using defense right there. It's really weird to see something on the screen when using a green screen because I look and I'm expecting to see it here. But that's not how that works at all. Anyway, so this is another basic mixed crew that you can run. And the good thing about this, though, is that Marcus is like tier 3. Yuki is tier 2 or 3. It doesn't matter that they're low. And then that 5 of 10, as you can see, is low. So I'm also trying to give you some officers that in the 20s, whether it's morale crew, a mixed Borg crew, a mix between Section 31 and Borg, that if you are a lower level or lower 30s player who doesn't have max officers, you can still have some effective PvP groups and focusing on how you're growing those explorers. Get them big, boys and girls. Now let's go to another crew. We're going Discord. I don't know why we care so much. But anyway, let's go to our Burrell. Now, I've really mixed it up for you here for a specific reason. Now, remember, I talked about fighting other Centurions with that Centurion build. But you also can do anti-Saladin builds. That build I just gave you, you still want to use Yuki as captain, take off Marcus, and put another officer on there, whether it's a DPS officer or a stat booster to fight Saladins. Now you look here, I've got a completely mixed set. Now I've got Khan on here for an increase, which is a cumulative growth for criticals. Yeah, you see it. You see it. And what we're going for here is we're actually doing this as a whole breach based build just for this right here. Decreasing dodge. Now this is a very weak Wife of the Dahar Master. Remember, Gorkon and how his whole breach works pairs with this lady much better than her husband does for whatever reason. But to show you fighting off interceptors, running a critical based build with hull breach on an explorer can actually be effective and work. Remember that on the Burrell, you've got a great firing pattern with a kinetic weapon. That's the key there. You got a great kinetic weapon that can really utilize what we're talking about here. So a mixed crew. Is this the most proficient crew? No. Remember, I've got 4 ships pulled up right now, but I'm showing you ideas and how you can take those ideas and apply them to what you have. The thing that I want to push across that I've learned from 2 years of doing this game and covering this game and working hand in hand with this game, everybody that asks, what crew do I run on a ship? There is not a blanket answer. Especially the higher level you go, there's so many officer sets, so many ships, and so many levels to your officers that we have to go, hey, here's how the officers work, and expound on that idea. Grow with it. You'll be better for it. Finally, let's use the one, the only USS Enterprise. You will notice that there is currently not a Spock being used on this ship. He's not a bridge officer because he doesn't belong here. And I know so many people are going to be like, well, what if my Enterprise is like tier 3? Should I use him then? No. And you're asking why? Fine, let's explain why. Remember when we did the video about defensive stats? Hey, we got 10,000 right here. Let's say we were using Spock. 750. Let's say we're using max morale right here. Max morale. So 1,000% bonus. Seems pretty nice, right? A one-time healing of 1,000% of that? That might actually be quite good. It would be quite good. Except it wouldn't be when you remember. Oh gosh, I'm killing myself here. When you remember that this is literally every single time it gets hit. Every time. So even if that spot gave you 100,000 once per round, if you go into your detail screen, hey, just look here at your defense, where your shield's at, 25%. Now remember, this is with buffs, but even at, and this is 25%, but if you got hit twice at even 10%, you're going to be doing about the same that Max Spock and Max Morale is doing. And a lot of you out there don't even have Max Morale. You've got an Enterprise and you've got a good set of morale, but you don't have it max. Yes, Spock is still regenerating your shields on a tier 1 or tier 2, but here's why you shouldn't do it. Just to really get it in your head. This is Spock. And here's what I want people to understand. That's Spock. That is literally Spock. See that? That's Spock. So if you think about it like that, if you really get in your head that this is Spock, the ship is Spock, now you understand, instead of having 2 Spocks, I can actually have Spock plus 3 other officers that focus on different things. Example, focusing on morale and stat boosting, focusing on morale and mitigation, focusing on morale, mitigation, and DPR, focusing on morale, mitigation, stat boosting, DPR, and shield regen because it's the Enterprise. But if I had Spock, I took that away. The bonus of the Enterprise is that it literally is Spock. So you don't need Spock. You then want to boost everything else. Get your mitigation up. Get that DPR up because the Enterprise does not actually have the greatest DPR. It's not that strong weapons-wise. It simply lasts forever. So yes, you can run Spock on your little tier 1 Enterprise. Congratulations. But if you want to go run the math, my DCist giving me an 8% boost every time, just like my shield is regenerating every time, is going to play out better than me running Spock. Run the math with me. I don't care. If we need to do a 20-minute video of me sitting there running calculations on 50-round fights with you so you can know for sure that you don't put Spock. And there's some of you on server 43 in the Mad Alliance, and I'm calling you out right now. I've seen your Enterprises, and you're running Spock. Hopefully you've stopped doing that. I've seen you do it on server 32. Stop. You can be such a better player. Do the math, nerd. You got all that money to blow in the game. Do the math. Sorry. Anyway, the basics of running Explorers, remember, is Explorers are shield ability ships, but they got a buff. They got a buff back in December of 2019 that increased their hull health, and we've seen them get better as a ship, focusing on the strengths that they have, which is morale, boosting that shield regen, and then also boosting their DPR, focusing on attack and defensive stats, and running some of these mixed setups might help you win the day. And if you have questions, because a 12-minute video cannot answer everything that there is to know about Explorers and crews, as always, drop them down below. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, because half of you don't hit that button for some reason. It does actually help me out. And last but not least, I love y'all. Live long and prosper. 2 of them, because one's on an Enterprise and the other is the Enterprise. Yeah. See you on the next one. Love y'all. Peace. An even better outro than the intro. Yeah!
Woo!